Hello students. In this video we're going to show you how to find the volume of any prism. So just a reminder, a prism is any three-dimensional shape that has two faces called the bases that are both parallel and congruent to each other. Well, congruent means they are exactly the same size and shape. So have a look here at this first diagram. I just called it a blob, just a random shape. And let's say that we've worked out that its area is 10 square centimeters. Sorry, that should be a 2, not a 3. Now, if we actually add a third dimension to that, we end up with a three-dimensional blob, and the volume of that is 10 cubic centimeters. So that's got a volume of 10 cubic centimeters. It is a prism because the front and back faces are congruent and parallel. Now have a look at this particular shape up here. Well, the volume of that, if the first layer is 10 cubic centimeters and there's two layers, the volume of that is going to be 10 times 2 or 20 centimeters cubed. Here we have 3 layers, so each layer has a volume of 10 cubic centimeters. So we have to multiply that by 3, 10 times 3, and that's going to give us a volume of 30 cubic centimeters. Down here, each layer has a volume of 10 cubic centimeters, so 10 times 6, and that has a total volume of 60 cubic centimeters. So this here is the base, so I'm going to call that number there the area of the base, and this distance here, I'm going to call that the height. I'm going to use a capital H for that. Lowercase h we use, for example, for the height of a 2D shape like a triangle. So if I use capital H, that means the height of a three-dimensional object. And by height, we really just mean the distance between the two bases. And the volume of a prism, the formula I write for that is just area of the base, which I use a capital A for that, multiplied by the distance between the two bases, which I call the height, and capital H. And that formula is all you need to find the volume of any prism. Volume of a prism, area of the base, times the height. Okay, let's go ahead and show you how it works. So this shape here, again, we got sort of a blob for the base of the prism. The two faces, the two bases, top and bottom, are congruent and parallel, so it is a prism. And we're told the area of the base is 22 square centimeters, and the height, the distance between the two bases, is 25 centimeters. So I just have to write my formula. Volume equals area of the base times the height equals 22 by 25. Just for a bit of practice, let's use our calculator on that one. And I'll drag it off to the side. 22 times 25. And we get 550. And don't forget the units, because we're in centimeters, that's cubic centimeters. Okay, a little bit more challenging. Here we've got a prism. The top and bottom faces are congruent and parallel, so we know it's a prism. And the shape of the base is a triangle. So here's one way to set these questions out, probably the preferred way, in my opinion. First, I write the formula for the area of any prism, area of the base times the height. Now, I know the shape of the the shape of the base is a triangle, and I know the formula for the area of a triangle is length times width divide 2. So I'm going to replace A with L times W, divide 2, and then I just copy down the times H. So in general, when you're finding the volume of prisms with known bases, known shapes for bases, write down your formula for volume and replace the A with the formula for that particular shape. Okay, now we can just go ahead and substitute. So the length of the base, or the length of the triangle, is 12. The width of the triangle is 6. Divide 2, and the height of the prism is 13. And again, for practice, let's use our calculator for that. So I'll just drag it off to the left here. Okay, I like to use the fraction operation. So if your calculator has one of those, it just seems to make it a bit easier. 12 divide, oops, mistake, 12 times 6 divide 2 times 13 equals, and I get 468. And the lengths are measured in meters, so that's going to be cubic meters. Okay, so in general, start all your volume questions by writing down the formula for volume, area of the base times the height. Replace the area with its formula times the height, and then just substitute and solve. So you end up with 4 lines of setting out in general. Okay, you have a go at these two, please. So stop the video and start it again once you've tried them, and then we'll check your answers. Okay, welcome back, students. Well, with this shape here, the bases are the front face and the back face. If I cut through the prism parallel to those, I get congruent faces. So I've got to find the area of that triangle. So using the same method as before, volume equals area of the base times the height. Okay, and the area of a triangle is length times width all over 2 times the height. Now, what am I going to use for the length of this? Well, I need to have the length and the width perpendicular to each other. So I can use that one for the length and that one for the width. So I can use 2.4 times 2.4 all over 2. And then the h is the height of the prism. Well, that's also 2.4. So that step, of course, is called substituting. Let's go and get our calculator and work out the answer. So I'll clear what I have, put in the fraction 2.4 times 2.4 all over 2 times 2.4. By the way, I always do, or usually do, a quick check to make sure that what I've typed in matches what I've written down. It all looks pretty good. And I'll probably round that to, say, 1 decimal place. So 6.9. And again, because the units are meters, the volume is going to be in cubic meters. Okay, starting this one the same way. Volume is area of the base times the height. Now, in this case, the base is a circle, and the formula for the area of a circle is pi r squared. So replace a with pi r squared times the height. Substitute. Okay, always have to be a little bit careful here. The diameter is 8, so the radius is half of that, which is 4. And the height of the prism is 9. And once again, we'll go ahead and solve that using our calculator. So clear what we have. Rather than using 3.14 for pi, just use your pi button, times 4 squared times 9. Double check. Yep, that looks good. And get the answer. And we get, again, I'll round it off. In this case, I'll round it off to the nearest whole number. So 452. And units are centimeters, so that's going to be centimeters cubed. Okay, my suggestion now is go and find your exercise on volume of prisms in your textbook and just work through the questions there. Okay, good luck.